Hey guys, Autobot John here, and I just wanted to give a quick, my quick take. So there's been a lot of things going on lately with Warner Brothers and the DC license. Zack Snyder posting all these very cool pics on Instagram of Henry Cavill as Superman, Ben Affleck as Batman, and then today Jared Leto as the Joker. Even though you can't see his face, you know it's him from the Nightmare sequence. Now, I want to get one thing really clear right now because I've had a lot of people that have been sending me messages. Some of them I blocked because they were really mean messages. Oh, well, you're a gun fan. You don't like the Snyderverse. No, back that up right now, okay? Yes, I do like the James Gunn Superman. Did I love it? No, I liked it. I did not like Peacemaker, but I didn't like season one. I'm just not into Peacemaker. I liked Creature Commandos. I thought it was different. I thought it was interesting. It had a lot of action in it, and it was pretty cool for an anime, but I didn't really know who the characters were, so I watched it and I kind of liked it. Um, and I'm kind of excited for Supergirl. I don't really know how a darker take on her is going to be because Supergirl to me has always been Helen Slater's version. Even though that movie is not great, I still have a soft spot for it. Um, I did, with no offense to Melissa Benoist, I think was her name, I did not like the CW Supergirl. I liked the first couple of seasons, and then the show went to shit after that. It got too political, too girl bossy, and I fell out of it. And yeah, and honestly, the Tyler Hoechlin Superman, I was not a fan. I know a lot of people hate me for that, and I get a lot of comments. Well, I can't believe you didn't like that. Well, maybe you liked it. To me, it wasn't Superman. It didn't have a lot of Superman in it, and I wasn't a fan of the show. So sue me. But anyway, I love the Snyderverse. I loved Batman v Superman. I went to the theaters and saw that 8 times. I loved Man of Steel. Henry Cavill is my second favorite Superman actor. Of course, number one will always be Christopher Reeve, and that's never going to change. But Cavill is Superman. Now, the reason that I'm bringing this up is because it looks like Netflix is going to close the deal. I mean, that's what it sounds like from what I can tell, and what I've read online and seen videos of. I'm not against this at all. However, and this is where people are probably going to get mad at me, I don't think that Netflix should just bring the Snyderverse back. And stay with me. Let me explain this. I'm not saying that I don't want to see Justice League Part 2 and 3. I do. But I'm kind of still interested to see the where James Gunn's DC is still going to go because we've only had 3 projects, and yes, they haven't been great. One of them completely sucked. Superman is mixed. People liked it, people didn't like it, but it did enough that I believe it brought enough attention back to the Man of Steel that people would give a second film another shot. And we know he's going to be in Supergirl because they've already said that they've been doing some reshoots and some editing, and it was to put Superman in it more than likely. So I think that one of the biggest problems that DC has had is that they get an actor to play Superman and then they get rid of the actor or they give up on the actor and they move on. And I think one of the reasons I don't want to see that happen right now to David Cornsweet is because it happened to Brandon Routh. Now, Superman Returns was not a terrible movie. It was just a boring movie. It was a good Superman movie, but it was boring. I really did like his portrayal, though. I didn't like his costume. He still, to me, has one of the worst Superman costumes ever because the colors were just too dark. It reminded me of the evil Superman from Superman 3. And I didn't like the redesign. I mean, some people liked it. I wasn't a fan of it. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't one of my top costumes. And I know some people are going to be like, oh, I can't believe you like the James Gunn Superman costume over the Brandon Routh one. Well, at least the James Gunn one is brighter and more true to what Superman's colors should be. So anyway, getting past that, Brandon Routh was never given the real opportunity to play the character again, and I think that it was a missed opportunity because he was good. He played the part well. He played Christopher Reeve's Superman, and that's where I think they made the mistake is trying to continue the Reeve universe. But then he came back in Crisis on Infinite Earths, and he played the Kingdom Come Superman, and I think he did a really good job showing that he could play the character again, and I just don't think he ever really got a fair shake at it. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think Cavill did either. Man of Steel, as much as I loved it, people must admit it was also a decisive movie. It divided fans big time. There are certain parts in that movie that Superman fans did not like, and it divided the fandom. So people can sit there and get mad and say that, well, James Gunn Superman did this and people didn't like this. Well, go back to 2015, I believe, 2013, whenever that film came out. Man of Steel also did the same thing. It was a divisive movie and it split the fandom. And there were those that liked it, and there were those that hated it. There were some that did not like the way that Superman broke Zod's neck. There were some that did not like the way he just let his earthly father, Jonathan Kent, die when he could have saved him. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff in that movie that people did not like. So if you're a Snyder fan, you cannot sit there and just say that movie had no problems, because it did. It had the same problems that James Gunn's Superman had. It divided the fandom. Not as bad, but it still did. Number 2 is Batman v Superman was not the box office success that Warner Brothers wanted. It did good, but it should have done better. I mean, this was the movie that fans have been wanting to see forever, was Batman and Superman on the same screen. And it should have made $1 billion easily, and it didn't. And it was a disappointment. And even though I like the movie, there are problems with it. And I do highly recommend the extended cut because it fills in a lot of gaps that the theatrical one didn't have. The story makes more sense. However, I will say that the fight between Superman and Batman, to me, is the drawing point to the movie. And I thought it was too fast, too quick, and honestly, I thought Batman held too much of an advantage, and just for Superman fans, I think that movie did Superman wrong. Maybe I'm maybe I'm a minority in that, but I just did not like the way that Superman was treated in that film. Batman was amazing. The warehouse scene is, but here's the thing. As much as people always say, well, Batman, Ben Affleck's Batman was the best. He was he was awesome. The only scene I ever hear anybody talk about when it comes to Ben Affleck's Batman is the warehouse fight. I never hear about any other scene. Nobody talks about his fight when he helped with Doomsday at the end. Nobody talks about his fight with Superman, the Batmobile chase in the docks. Nobody talks about anything except the warehouse scene, and you cannot define a character just on one scene. So, no, I'm sorry, that's not a good enough reason to me for saying that, well, he was the best on-screen Batman. I mean, now, yeah, he was. People will tell you that he's their favorite Batman. I have no problem with that, but well, as you know, Keaton is my favorite Batman and always will be. but I can name you tons of scenes and different, all his movies. That's why he's my favorite. Ben Affleck, most people will only name the warehouse scene because it was just like the Arkham games. It was him come to life, and that's cool. I defend that because that was an awesome scene. But here's where I have a problem, and this is where, as a Snyder fan, I kind of like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call this out on that because I haven't heard anybody say this yet. All right, so let's say Netflix buys it. That's good news because they already have Zack working for them for Rebel Moon and all his other projects. So they buy it, they let Zack come in and do Justice League 2 and 3, right? Here's the main problem. No one has stopped to think about this. Can they get Cavill and Ben Affleck back? Now, just because he's posting pictures and saying he's the real Superman and this is the real Batman, does that mean that Cavill and Affleck would return? Because Ben Affleck has already come out and stated he does not want to play superheroes anymore. And I'll be honest with you, the way that Cavill was treated, and no, it wasn't Zack that did. I understand that. It was Warner Brothers. But still, the bottom line is the way that he was treated. You got to ask yourself, would you come back if you were him? What are the odds that he comes back and they do the same thing again? Announce to the world you're back as Superman. Get all the fans hyped up again, and then we're going to take and pull the rug from under you again. You know that's got to be going through his head. Number two, people also forget that these actors move on. They don't just sit there and wait for the role to come back again. I mean, I'm sure Cavill would play Superman again, but you also have to remember he's got his what is it? He's got some video game movie that he's supposedly going to be working, Warcraft or something. Is that the name of it? He's got that he's working on, and he's got Highlander. I don't know if they finished filming Highlander or not. I think they were filming it, and then he got injured or something. So he's busy. So he's not going to drop projects he's already, committed to play Superman again. So my thing is, if he even agrees to come back and play him again, you're probably looking at 2027, maybe 2028 before he can even play the character again, before they can even start shooting. So if they can get them back, that's great. I know they can get Gal Gadot back. What about Jason Momoa? Oh, I have a feeling he'd jump back at the opportunity to play Aquaman again. But then again, I think he's looking forward to doing Lobo. So I don't know how that would work. Cyborg, I don't think you could get back because of the problems that went on. And I don't know if you can recast him or not. That's he was a pretty big character, especially in the Snyderverse, the Snyder version of Justice League. He was a major character. They gave him a lot more parts, and his story there was a lot more to Cyborg in the Snyder version. And then they'll have to recast the Flash because nobody wants Ezra Miller back. I just don't want to see him play the Flash again. But then again, there you go. Do you want to try to get Grant Gustin? There's your problems right there. And this is the biggest question that I have. So if Zack comes back and he is going to do Justice League 2 and 3, if he can't get Cavill and Affleck back, would you, as Snyder fans, would you be happy with a new Superman and a new Batman, same costumes, same characters, just different actors? Because what if he can't get them back? What if Henry Cavill says, no, thank you, I'm not going to play this role again. I was done dirty. And I know it wasn't your fault, but I don't want to play. I'm done. I don't want to play this character again. What if Affleck just basically, I don't want to play a superhero anymore. I'm done. I think that's a big possibility because remember, he's older now. and he went back into directing films. He's a director. I think the only way you could get him back is if you promised him that he could make his Batman standalone film, the one he had planned with Deathstroke. I think that's the only way you'd get him back. But it's a long shot. And like I said, by the time they get all these people back on board, it'll probably be 2028 before they can even start filming. So you're looking about, if they start filming in 2028, you're looking at least 2020, a 2030 release for Justice League Part 2 and 3 if they film it back to back. That's a long time, guys. That's a very long time. That's a long time to go without any content. So here's my idea. And I know a lot of people probably won't like this, but if Netflix buys Warner Brothers, my advice is, why don't you make both fandoms happy? Bring Snyder back to finish Justice League 2 and 3 and I guess his take on the Dark Knight returns, which would be cool. Technically, that is Batman v Superman, kinda. But anyway, bring him back to do that and any future projects. And this is where a lot of people are probably going to get mad and leave me comments. But leave James Gunn and Peter Safran and let them keep going with what they're doing. Now, hear me out. Because what you would do then is you would give the Snyder fans what we want, our darker, more adult-based DC universe, but then you would also continue the lighter tone, more comedy, kid-friendly, goofy DC universe, and you'd make both fandoms happy. Because I guarantee you, here's the thing, and Harsh Critic has been trying to tell you guys this, you don't listen. A bunch of other people I watch on YouTube have been trying to say this. The idea is give the fans what they want. The Snyder cult is true. There are some people out there that are mean, cruel, and you know, just very, you don't want to talk to them basically, and they know who they are. Harsh Critic is not one of them, by the way. I get tired of people leaving comments on his channel talking about, oh, you are such a snyderverse. He just likes what he likes. End of story. Everybody likes certain things. And there are always those that are going to pick on you or get in your face because you like something that they don't. So leave him alone. He's doing a good job. I support him. I think his channel is awesome. I don't agree with everything he says, but I'm human and we don't all agree on everything. But I do agree with him on this. The fans spoke, and the Wall It's Closed movement, I was against it, but it worked. You have to give them their credit on that. They want it, they got it, and they did tank Superman. And it's not just them. It was not a great movie. Like I said, I liked it, but it wasn't great. There are problems with it. David Cornswit's not one of them, though. I'm tired of people picking on David Cornswit. Well, he was a terrible Superman. I thought he was a great Superman. I really liked his portrayal of Superman. I didn't like the story, and I thought they kind of made him kind of weaker than any other Superman. But all in all, I thought he played really good. He was kind, he was nice, he was hopeful, and he was the Superman that, he was the closest to the Reeves Superman that we've had so far, in my opinion. I think Cavill was on his way to becoming that, but they pulled the plug before it ever got there. So anyway, I don't want to make this video too long, but basically what I'm saying is, if Netflix is listening, if Zack Snyder is listening, there is something DC does way better than Marvel, and that's called the multiverse. And I believe that there is room in the studio for both universes. Earths or whatever you call it. And here's what you do. And I know how some people be like, well, if Zack Snyder's universe isn't the main one, then we don't. It doesn't. I'll be mad. No, here's the thing. I don't think true fans of the Snyderverse, will care if you make it Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth Snyder, Earth 225, as long as you finish the fucking story. That's all we want is part 2 and part 3, maybe Man of Steel 2 if we get lucky, and anything else that they give Zack that he wants to do. And I don't care if it's the main universe. If you want to keep James Gunn's Superman the main Superman, and you want to make his universe, the DCU, the Earth 1, if you will, the main Earth, I don't care. I can deal with 2 different storylines. I can deal with 2 different universes. Most DC fans don't have a problem with that because that's what the comic books do. There's been alternate Batmans, alternate Supermans, alternate versions of each character, and they've done it for years and years. Marvel does it too. So you will not make people mad. But what you will make people mad is if you destroy one universe and bring one back. I believe the right thing to do is to keep both of them running. Bring the Snyderverse back, make us happy, make all the fans happy, and keep the Gunverse going and make them happy, and you make money. You make bank. You can't not make money because everybody will support it. I think that people will line up to see the Snyderverse if it returns. And I also believe the people that watch the Snyderverse, if you give them what they want, will also turn around and support the Gunverse because they finally got what they wanted, and they would be more willing at that point to support the other one because in the end, if they're both running at the same time, it's not a competition. It's DC against Marvel at that point, and both sides are of the same coin. And I'll be honest with you, I'm ready to see Marvel take a fall. I'm ready to see DC rise. I'm ready to see DC kick ass. I've waited a long time, and I think it's time. I think it's time that DC rises again. I think it's time that Batman and Superman take their rightful spots back as the top superheroes in the world. Call me biased all you want. Anyway, guys, that's my video. Shout out to Harsh Critic, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Wallets closed worked. I did not keep my wallet closed. I did go to see Superman. I watched it. I don't know. I probably went and saw it about 8 times because each family member wanted to go see it, and so I was like, well, okay, yeah, I'll go back. And I'm gonna see Supergirl. But God, man, do I want Cavill back? Do I want Affleck back? Absolutely. Do I want Snyder back? Yes. Do I want Justice League 2 and 3? Yes. Do I want to see that battle between Superman and Darkseid? Yes. I want to see Granny Goodness. I want to see the Parademons. I want to see Calabac. I want to see all the Orion. I want to see all this. And I think we're close. I think we're this close. But I'm also a realist, and I know not to give my hopes up because every time I do, it never happens. So we'll see what happens. Here's praying that it happens. But life moves on, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. It doesn't mean we have to stop wishing. But I, for one, want to see both. I want both universes to keep going. We can't lose with either one. I want both going. I want the Snyderverse back, and I want Gunn to continue because I'm curious to see. Maybe he'll learn. Maybe they'll learn from some of their mistakes moving forward. Maybe his Batman will be awesome. I do want to see who's going to play the new Batman. I'm curious. I want to see the Batman Part 2. I want DC to thrive. I think working together, it can all work together. I think it could all work as one. But that's just my take. So leave me feedback, guys. Let me know what you think. And if you're for the Snyderverse coming back, let me know. If you're for the Gunverse to continue with the Snyderverse at the same time, let me know. Peace.